Nothing much. I got a quick question for you. I know you hung out with Destiny at the Unfuck America tour, so that's you, right?
Yes.
Okay. I watched the whole debate on his channel. I just wanted to say, you do know he had a 15-year-old girl that sent him bikini pics, and he sent it to his friends in a group chat and said that she was really sexy and jailbait. He was really concerned with.
Never heard this one.
That's pretty interesting. Don't you think you should look into that if you associate yourself with somebody?
Can you DM me that so I can take a look?
It's out there. It's completely out. You should
be able to DM me.
He's made long form content about it.
Feel free to DM me.
He's discussed it, and he said that he didn't find a problem with saying a 15-year-old girl was sexy.
I've never seen this, so
do you think that's wrong?
Feel free to DM it to me. I'd happily take a look. I've never seen this.
Wrong, yes or no? If it is true, do you think that's wrong?
If he's an adult saying a 15-year-old is sexy,
yeah, answer the question. If you see it and it ends up being true,
yes, I would say that's wrong. It doesn't change me hanging out.
Okay, and would you stop associating with that person?
No, I wouldn't.
Really? So you can associate with someone who finds an underage 15-year-old sexy?
Well, it depends when he said it, why. I mean, there's plenty of people that say crazy things, man.
He said it when he was 23 years old.
23 years old?
He was on an esports team.
He's 37 years old right now.
Yeah.
So your point against
wrong,
him
right?
is something that happened 14 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Still wrong, dude. I'm 23 years old. If I say that a 15-year-old girl is attractive,
did you ever say anything,
that would be wrong.
Did you ever say anything in your early 20s that you regret that maybe you wouldn't say now?
Not pedophilic, no.
Okay, so you don't think people can change, and maybe he said something stupid in his early 20s? He's 37 years old.
He's never apologized for it.
Oh, he's supposed to apologize for everything he did in his 20s, which is, I don't even know if it's true, but if it was,
yeah,
I
think if you say that a 15-year-old girl is jail and that you were thinking about having sex with her when she sent you swimsuit photos, I think that's wrong. And you're sending it around to your boys in a group chat, yeah.
So 14 years ago, sounds like he did something stupid. That's not the 37-year-old guy he is right now.
I disagree. I mean,
you don't think he's changed? You don't think people change in 14 years? I know I changed a lot.
I mean, you could, but I would expect you to come out and address it. He also doxed a little kid and tried to get him killed. He said on stream he pulled a gun out and said he was going to kill him.
I have heard of that one. I think that kid was messing with his internet or something.
He was DDoSing him, but still, I mean, that's a crime. You can report it. You don't got to threaten to kill a child.
Why are you so obsessed with this guy? What did Destiny do to you?
I used to be a fan, and then I found out this information and I was disgusted by him.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry that happened.
And I also don't like Trump. I want to make that clear, but I still find your support for him and the Unfuck America tour, the fact that they associate with him, that's disgusting.
Wow. Well, we're sorry. I'll take this up with the manager. This guy's a pedophile because he said a 15-year-old looks good in a swimsuit when he was 23. He's a pedophile. Really?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Everybody says Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile. Wasn't his youngest victim 14? I would agree that's pedophilia.
Yes, because he abused them.
Yeah, but it's still pedophilia, right? I mean, would you say that a 14-year-old girl is not pedophilic? That's your argument.
No, I think there's a huge difference between Jeffrey Epstein and what you described Destiny doing in his early.
Well, obviously, but we can both argue that they're wrong. They don't have to be the same degree, right?
I already told you I would not support him saying that. But that was 14 years ago, according to him
saying that. But
I'm not here to debate Destiny. Who gives a shit, man? Why are you obsessed with this guy? That's the real question.
That's who you associate with,
so
right?
What?
You're who your friends are, right?
Who cares? Why do you care who I associate with?
I think it matters.
Do you think this is a good argument to make me stop associating?
Yes, I think it's a great argument. Yeah, if you're going to have people in your movement, they better be.
Who said something you disagree with 14 years ago?
Correct. Yeah, it's still wrong. Yeah, doesn't make it any better. He's never clarified it. He's never said that it was wrong.
The thing
All he said was, I didn't actually ask for nudes from her.
You're going to have to associate with imperfect people in order to get things done in life. That's just reality. Everybody's got some bad things as time goes on.
Me and you are both imperfect people, but I can say that you're not a pedophile from what I know.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
So, I mean, if I would, just because you're not a perfect person doesn't mean we can't draw the line somewhere, right?
Well, I think this is borderline obsession at this point with what you're dealing with here, and I don't think it's healthy.
How is it not healthy?
Because think about it.
It's just information that I've known for a while.
Listen, take a step back. Your goal, I don't think this is really your goal, but let's pretend you actually wanted to convince me to not associate it with Destiny anymore. Do you think you've moved the needle on that in any way?
I think that I've made it awkward for you in public, so now you're going to have to address something.
I'm not going to have to address anything. I haven't moved at all in my position.
Well, then that shows your character. Why would anybody want to associate with your movement or what you got going on if you're going to associate with pedophiles and have them in the movement? Is your whole thing against Trump because he's a pedophile?
No, that's not my whole thing. I think that is a glaring example of why he's bad. But no, I'm not going to change anything you do based on what you said, and nobody's going to leave my stream or not associate with me because of what you said.
They will.
No, they won't.
People are in the comments. Some people are like, "Whoa, it was so long ago," in quotations, making jokes about you. Just because it's long ago doesn't mean it was not a bad thing. How long ago did Brett Kavanaugh assault that girl or whatever? That's still wrong, right?
Wow. So I'm only growing. My association with Destiny has only made me bigger and more influential.
So you'll use pedophiles to ride their coattails
There's no
for success?
evidence that he's a pedophile.
There is, by his own admission, what he did was say that a 15-year-old girl
was 23 years
sexy in a
old.
bikini, and it was someone that he wanted to have sex with. He mentioned it on video.
Don't even know if it's true. And second, it happened
And the
14
group
years
chat's out
ago
there.
when he was in his early 20s.
It's out there. The DMs are out there. You can watch the videos. You can hear his response. You can hear what he has to say. He's made it very clear that he found that 15-year-old to be jailbait and to be attractive.
Well, I told you, you're welcome to DM this to me so I can take a look and I'll happily go from there.
I don't think that's going to change your mind by your own admission. You said you're using him
probably
for his
based
success.
on what you described. I don't think it would, but
Really? You don't think that that's wrong?
I've already said I think that's wrong. Doesn't change my association with him 14 years later.
I don't know, man. That's a little sketchy.
Really? You don't think people can change?
I wouldn't trust you around my children.
You wouldn't trust me around your children because I'll continue to associate with Destiny after he said something 14 years ago.
What if he said your 15-year-old daughter was hot?
When he was
What if you had a
23,
15-year-old
I would
daughter
have
and
the
he
same reaction that I don't think that's appropriate to say. Just like, doesn't mean I'm not going to associate with him. That is nuts.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Okay.
So
Well,
you
have a good
made
rest of
your
your day.
point.
I'll make sure I post this clip.
Go ahead, post the clip, and we'll see what happens to my audience moving forward. It's over, guys. I think this is where I say goodbye. My career's done. I'm done. That guy has proven that I'm a monster. Literally said I'm a pedophile based off that argument. That's insane. Crazy talk. These people are nuts, dude. I'm gonna do 2 Unfuck Americas because of that guy. I'm gonna double down on my friendship. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm about to get canceled, though. I don't know if you heard the last call.
No, I did. And so I don't want to argue about that, because I don't know Destiny. I don't know the validity of that statement. But what I found interesting is your defense of it. Look, hey, you do you. But what I found interesting is, the statements of, it was, 10 years ago and, it was back when he was younger.
14 years ago, yeah.
14 years ago. But you don't hold those same standards when it comes to Trump. Oh. And so you don't.
All right, let's let the man defend himself. You ready?
Again, I didn't make this claim, so he doesn't need to defend it to me. My comment was about you defending it blindly.
Wait, does this work? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. First of all, is this guy a Trump voter?
Yes, I am. And sir, I did not make this claim about you at all. Let's be clear. I just came up after a dude who did make this claim about you.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. For first question, okay. You understand there's a difference ideally, there's a difference in standards between somebody who would be the president versus somebody who would be like a streamer influencer, right?
Sir, when these claims that y'all are suggesting, Trump hadn't even thought about running for president, so that doesn't quite apply.
Oh, wait. So then the things that you do in life don't matter until you think about doing something else?
I mean, so again, are you going to argue that it was okay? I mean, hold on. Let's just go. Did you do
Well,
this?
no, let's circle back let's circle back to my first question. I'll answer it, but I can answer the question, but I need you to answer my first question. You understand it's a different standard for like different jobs or roles that people would hold in life, right?
No, sir. I think our moral standards remain the same no matter what job you hold in life, sir. So I disagree.
Okay, gotcha. So then if a doctor were to operate on you and you found out that he had a bachelor's in English instead of an MD, you'd be okay with that because your standard for every single person in life is the same.
No, because your bachelor's is just the beginning to get a doctorate. And so it really doesn't matter what your bachelor's is.
Okay, so you'd have different standards for different people in life.
No, it's as long as you went through the proper schooling. I mean, so your analogy doesn't make sense, sir.
My analogy fits 1-to-1. You would have different standards for different people in life. There might be something that you think disqualifies a person from one job, but wouldn't necessarily disqualify them from another, right? The reason why you can't accept this is because you have to mentally torture your opinion in order to make this work. But like, this is the most obvious statement in the world. You would have different expectations for different people, right?
I'm simply answering your question. So in order to be a doctor, you're going to have the proper schooling to be a doctor, but that doesn't mean you have the now right to be able to say at the age of 23 or 24 that you want to do a 15-year-old. And so let's go back to that now, because I mean, my answer, hold on. My answer answer was no matter what.
So then, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Well, no, because I just want to drill on this point a little bit. Every single friend that you have in real life, every single family member that you still associate with, all of these people are people that you would be comfortable being the president of the United States. You think that they have the character, the skills, the morality, whatever. All of these people, you would agree with that.
I never made that comment or that's
no. Well, I'm asking you a question.
Are there certain individuals that would be better at being the president of the United States than others? Absolutely, sir.
Okay. I can't understand this feels so. This is why I hate this platform. This is such a stupid point to argue because everybody intuitively knows how stupid this point is. You obviously are different. There are some people that if you're voting for somebody to be the president of the United States, you want this person to be literally the representative of the entire country. Like you want this person to be of much higher than ordinary moral candor, moral caliber. And the idea that you would compare like somebody that you might associate with or a YouTuber or activist or whatever as having the same moral standards as like the president of the United States is just, that's crazy. Obviously, there are going to be some things that are just going to be bare bones, like, this guy's, like a murderer or an arpist. I don't know, you can say here, whatever. You wouldn't want to associate with this person at all. But it's crazy that you're saying that, like, no, I would have the exact same standard for every single person in every single area of life. That's just a crazy statement.
Suggesting that moral standards change based upon your status or your job? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
To some extent.
No, because this
to some extent.
This is an education question. This is a moral standard question, sir.
To some extent.
We need to get back to that. I don't know how we've gotten over to you asking me about qualifications for the presidency of the United States of America, which I'm more than happy to go through with you. But it sounds to me that you're just trying to deflect from the actual issue at hand here, sir.
No one is deflecting. I'm just saying that different people have different characters that might make them better suited for different jobs. You might know a guy who has a kid who cusses a lot around a kid, and you might know somebody else who you feel is a better parent. You might feel like the person who's a better parent would probably be a much better teacher, and then the guy who cusses around a kid a lot maybe wouldn't be a good teacher because of that, right? But that doesn't make the guy that cusses around his kid a horrible person. It just, or somebody that you have to exclude from your life completely. There's just different people that are maybe better suited to different roles, whether they are of a higher moral candor, whether they're more educated, whatever else. Like we can have different standards for different roles. That's just crazy to me that is not plainly obvious. Like if somebody were to say, I support Destiny Stream and I donate $100, that would be a lot different than me saying, oh, I support this guy who donated $100 to me, right? I would probably require them to have a higher moral standard for me to support them versus them supporting me, right? It would just, because I'm more closely associated and I'm endorsing the person.
Okay, Steven, should I call you Steven or Destiny? What would you prefer?
Steven's fine.
Okay, Steven. So, sir, I've never listened to you before, but let me bring you back to where this began, okay? So a caller had come up and made some claims about you, and the claims were very similar to the types of claims that are made versus against Trump. And IRI here defended you and said, and the premise of this was, if he found out these claims to be true, would he still associate with you? This is what the argument was, okay? And his answer to that was yes. And so I came up here and I said, well, I found that to be a little bit interesting. And his excuses or his defense of you was, well, this was back when he was 23 years old. He's 37 now. This was a long time ago. And all I'm trying to say, Stephen, is that seems very double standard, very hypocrisy to me when you then don't apply the same standards, regardless of his position, to Mr. Trump. Let's not even call him President Trump. Let's just call him Mr. Trump. Regardless of who he is, the standard should remain the same. And I'll land it there, Stephen.
Okay, sure. Well, here's a question. If you had a friend that engaged in some, let's say, white-collar crime, embezzlement or fraud or whatever, would you cut that person out of your life completely? You're never talking to this person ever again?
I mean, it would really... Probably.
Let's say they're a manager at a restaurant and they stole $1,000. You're done. You have no friends that have ever been in prison for anything. Never.
Yeah, I'm not, because they'll do it to me, and so I'm not into thieves. Yeah, no, I honestly would not.
You're being ridiculous.
I couldn't.
I can't actually. So I think it's just to win the argument. I mean, yeah.
No, that's an honest answer. Like if I found out somebody was stealing.
Okay, question. Would you judge somebody else if they said, this is my friend, he went to prison, 5 years ago, he stole from a job. I think he served his time, but I'm friends with him now. Would you judge that person and say, I can't believe you are friends with a guy who was a thief?
If he didn't know about it?
No, if he knew about it, he knew about it. Everybody knows everything about it. He went to prison, everything.
Man, I don't know.
You don't know if you would judge the guy? Do you think every felon or misdemeanor crime person, all these people should just be removed straight from society forever?
No, I don't think that, but I don't know that I would call him my, I call him acquaintance. I don't know that I call him a friend.
Jeez.
Dude, look, I keep my network tight. I mean, it's close. And so, yeah.
Okay, wait. So then I'm just curious. You're a Trump voter?
Yeah.
Do you have friends? Do you have a daughter?
No. What is that? Well, again, why do you keep asking me questions?
Well, no, I'm trying to.
This was about you and the claim that was made against you, and then
hold on.
IRI.
Well, no, right now, no, it's not. It's about.
No, we haven't even addressed that, and yet you keep coming at me with these questions, like, do you have a daughter? Do you, like it's just it's.
Well, because
like,
you're making an appeal to hypocrisy for IRI.
I'm not. I'm answering your questions, and I've answered them straight up every single time. You said, "Hey, would you do this?" And then you don't like the answer, so then you start asking me more questions.
Because I don't believe the answer. There's just no way. My question is, would you keep a friend? Would you keep a friend who's made the same statements about women that Donald Trump has?
So would I keep a friend that said in locker room talk that those comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have issue with locker room talk. No.
What was your issue with my comments then?
I don't know about your comments. That's what you came to talk about. So were those comments true?
So let me clarify. I don't
know anything about your comments.
My comments are I don't remember how long ago this was, but I was either 22 or 23. There were a lot of gaming conventions. A lot of people go to these gaming conventions that are super young, anywhere from 10 years old to 25 years old. And there was a person that was contacting me, and then I find out after chatting with this person for a while, this person's 15 years old. And then I tell the people in my gaming group chat, you could call it a Skype locker room. I say, hey, you got to watch out. Some of these young people, they're pretty attractive. They look older than they appear to be. Like you can find a 15, 16, 17-year-old that looks like they're 18, 19, 20. So make sure you're not banging these people basically when you go to events. If you don't ask for an ID or something, I didn't say ID part, but this is basically what I said. I'm pretty sure the logs are there because they get posted everywhere. But this was in a private Skype room. This was me saying, don't bang a child. Be careful because some people look older than they appear to be. Can you explain to me how is that comment worse than Trump basically giving a permission or excuse to himself in his locker room talk? I don't know what I can say on this platform, but to do things to women.
That's not how it was described to me. The guy came up here basically said you verbally graped somebody with your comments the way they talked about it. So like I told the guy who came up here, send it to me. Let me take a look. I want to see. But to objective dissent here, I said, I'm assuming it was just some edgy comments, but now it turns out it wasn't even that. So this is why I was reluctant to be like, yes, to hell with Destiny. I'm done with him. I'm moving on.
So I will take your comments at face value. However, recall that, the gentleman said that there is a recording of it. And so if it were to be, which he implied.
I don't remember him saying that.
No, let me finish. He implied that you, after you found out that she was underage, that you still suggested that you would like to have relations. That's what I heard, and I'm not defending it, but
he didn't say that. No,
I know. I believe what Steven said.
No,
I believe. Hey, that's
that guy did not even say that though. You're full of shit. He didn't say that.
What do you mean he didn't say that?
Said the worst argument that guy made was that Destiny said a 15-year-old was sexy when he was 23. That's the whole argument that guy made. You added so much to that. I think you heard, I don't know what you were listening to.
Well, that's what I thought I heard. So, again, if I didn't hear that, I apologize. I'm not trying to make.
Well, okay, so let's assume that even if we, I don't really want to grant this. But even if I were to run with the worst version of what you said, how is Trump's comment not just as bad, if not worse, saying that he can walk into rooms and do whatever to women because he's a celebrity? Also, keep in mind that when I said this, I was 22, 23. When Trump said this, he was, what, 50, 60?
50, 60, yeah.
So, again, I'm not going to defend what Trump said, but we all know when we get into a group of guys, when it's just, people hanging out, that things like that get said. It's just,
wait. So in my Skype group chat with my 5 teammates?
Again, you were being recorded. Again, I don't know anything about this.
Being recorded? I was not being recorded. What do you know? What?
Sounds like text. Again, it sounds like some text messages, and it sounds like he was telling people, watch out for these people. They look older.
My issue as it was with IRI and his defense, his blind defense to find out, he said, again, it was if he found out this to be true, that you were, obviously.
Yeah, but wait, even IRI's blind defense wasn't a blind defense. He hedged it and said that if he found out that the comments were as bad as the guy said, that he would cut off contact, which is more than what you've granted for Trump, which is giving him a full pass on things by saying that, well, it was just locker room talk.
No, that's not what I understood, because he basically, we'd have to go back and listen to the clip. The way I understood it to be was that the gentleman was implying that you suggested at this age, or at that age, 23 or whatever the age you were, that this 15-year-old was hot, and there was more to it than just, a simple comment. And then the whole, argument was that, it's being a hypocrite to say that he would still be willing to hang out with you. What you said in the past didn't matter. And hey, look, I'll accept you didn't say that, but the fact that he was willing to be able to say, I'll still be friends with this guy regardless.
I'm here.
My whole point is why can't y'all apply the same thing to Trump? That was the whole point.
Just my final comment. I think IRI would apply the exact same standard to Trump. I think IRI wouldn't mind being friends with Trump in real life if he had said a comment. But the standard for being a friend is a lot different than the standard for thinking somebody should be the president of the United States.
Yes.
Again, all of these things and claims happened way before, Trump became or even thought about becoming president. And then if you actually want to,
he was an adult.
If you want to take it a little bit further, a lot of these claims came out when he decided to become president. Isn't that a little bit suspect, Stephen?
Wait, do you think they're not true?
I know I'm not saying that they're not true, but all of these things that came out, as in the, bus video with whatever the name is and grabbing him by the JJ, all these things, grape case with whatever her name is, all of this stuff, that was actually after his presidency. So all of these things come out, way, way later. But yet, in this situation, IRI was just willing to.
Well, in this situation, isn't it weird that we just did a fundraiser?
Talking in the middle of
Isn't it weird that we just did a fundraiser where we raised like $250,000 for some Democratic campaign funding thing,
sure
and then all of a sudden I'm
you
getting
could
to it, and then all of a
raise
sudden
that.
there are people hopping on here saying, "Wait a second, this guy is bad news." Would you apply the same lens there?
Well, if you would allow me to be able to complete my thought, I'd be more than happy to listen to
You realize you've talked the vast majority of the time on this call, right?
Monologue, objective dissent. As you,
I'm not. Y'all just don't like. That's what y'all think when you don't like what you have to say.
You're being very long-winded here for no reason.
I'm not. I'm not. Stop.
You are. Trust me.
I'm really not.
I can type it if you want, and we can see.
Give me a minute timer.
No, hold on.
Minutes at a time. That would be great.
I think the guy who made this claim is in my queue.
Bring him up. He's right there.
Hold on. I want to ask Stephen if he wants to. I no pressure. Do you want to confront this guy who's going around trying to cancel you, Destiny?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's always the same, like one or two comments people like to obsess. I mean, sure, go for it. Why not?
Okay. Now, objective dissent. You got to give this the space between the two. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll try to keep quiet. I think this is the guy. I don't know.
Yo, Slippery Steve, what's up, man?
Hey,
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Are you the guy?
How's
Can
it
you
going?
turn that shit down in the background first? Can you mute that in the background?
Why is it looping? Hold on, one sec.
All right.
Good boy, my bad.
Okay. Are you the guy who came up here earlier?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. I don't remember. I talked to a lot of people. Okay. So now Destiny's saying your claim isn't what you framed it as. You claim that he said
I watched the whole stream, dude.
Okay.
With Tonka Truck and Andy Worski when they confronted you in that 1v7 debate years ago.
Okay. Well, I'll let Stephen respond to your claim.
Well, that stream was about, I'm pretty sure, about the same thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So you're still claiming that when he was in his early 20s, he said some 15-year-old was sexy. That's your claim, right?
Yeah, well, he was texting a girl, found out she was 15, stopped texting her, but sent pictures of her in swimsuits to his buddies and was saying that she was attractive and that she was.
Okay. So this is the claim. I don't know anything about this. What do you say to this guy, Stephen?
Yeah, yes, this is the claim. I'm talking to a girl, find out that she is much younger than I thought she was. Told the people in my chat, this girl is underage. Don't bang these girls. There was a bikini pic that she sent, same ones that were posted on her Facebook. It wasn't a nude picture. It wasn't child porn.
But from what I remember you saying in the Tonka Truck debate is when he was like, so you think 15-year-olds can be attractive? You said, yeah, they can be.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to virtue signal over this. If you want to play the game, that's fine. But underage people can look like they're 18, 19, 20 or whatever, especially when you're.
Do you think 15-year-olds are hot? Just say it.
Right now as a 30 whatever year old? No, I don't.
I don't know, man. Lita was pretty close to that.
This is why you're being ridiculous, because you're saying it with a smile on your face.
Wait. Molina was close. So now 20-year-olds when you're 30 are.
Wasn't she 19? I don't know, man. You're kind of.
I'm sure she was like 20, but like, how much do you want to edge this up? Is it 25-year-old? Are you a pedal if you like? Like, no, I'm not virtue signaling over this. Is wild. The virtue signaling over this is crazy.
I'm not virtue signaling. I just think it's disgusting, man. I don't like
That's fine. But that's fine. But like, why would you dig back to a comment? Let's say that you were in my position. What would you get a time machine, or what do you think is the proper atonement for such a horrible
Probably
comment when I
not
was 23.
it with any serious political movement. Didn't that happen when you were in I would say I wouldn't associate with any serious political movement. I know that happened a couple years ago when you tried to work with
15 years
it was on the John Ossoff thing or whatever, I think. No, I'm talking.
Oh yeah, I think when we sunk Ossoff's campaign. Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I just wouldn't associate with
Sorry
anything
about that.
serious.
Sorry, Georgia.
You and Hassan are just the biggest goofballs in the entire political space.
Wow.
Okay. Well, hey, take the same energy to Hassan, and I'll support you, buddy. Okay.
I don't like Hassan. Hassan's a fucking third worldist pussy.
Okay, so I don't know if there's anything else to talk to you about here, buddy. You've got this vendetta. It doesn't seem to be going well.
Shut up, Steven, dude.
No, you didn't. He responded. He told you the facts, and you're still harping on this
He
thing.
said 15-year-olds are hot.
No.
I don't know.
Okay, sure, but so you think that he's attracted to minors? That's you're convinced of that?
He said that they could be attractive, yeah.
Okay.
By his own admission, yeah.
When he was 23 years old.
Doesn't matter, dude. I'm 23 years old. That shit is gross.
Okay. He wasn't saying it like he wants to hook up with them, man. I already told you that. Oh, look, you got flagged for being a moron. All right. I had to kick you, Luther, because your content made people feel uncomfortable. I think some red flags were raising for you there, buddy, that you're focused on this subject. It's kind of weird. See, to me, people like Luther are like those guys screaming, "You're going to burn in hell," signs. Like they identify some evil inside of them that's so disgusting that they have to go out there and try to like attack other people for it to make it disappear from the world or something. I don't know. I do a lot of therapy sessions here for these guys.
Well, all I'd say, Stephen, is I don't find anything that, you said what it sounds like, to be, hateful or anything. It's just y'all don't seem to want to apply the same standards at the end of the day. You can make mistakes at the end, when you were younger, you accept that, right? But why can't you, again, hold the same,
Well, there are two.
give the same grace?
Yeah, there are two huge differences. Okay, so one, I have said that a lot of comments that I said, especially my early days of the internet, were too cavalier, too, whatever, inappropriate. I shouldn't have said these things. There have been some horrible tweets I've made that I think are really gross and disgusting that I definitely shouldn't have tweeted or should have said. So number one, I've already made that claim. Okay, Donald Trump has never apologized for anything. Even today, when he removed that picture of him as Jesus, he said that, I just thought that was a picture of me as a doctor. The Democrats made everything else up. So Donald Trump has never apologized for any of these things, number one. Number two, despite how every single thing on the internet and in real life now is obsessed with labeling everybody whatever, you can go through the difference in statements that I said when I was 22, 23, that people who are younger can look older, people who are 15 can look 18, 19, whatever. That's a lot different than saying I'm a wealthy person. I can walk into these rooms, these locker rooms of these events that I'm running, and I can just grab women and they'll let me because I'm rich and powerful, right? Especially one coming from an early 20-year-old, the other coming from a 60s whatever year old who owns a business and owns the establishments that are running these events. These are like of a different kind of quality of statement.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're taking a dude that doesn't think that he's being recorded, that's trying to be cool in front of his friends and saying things, and then
he thinks it's cool to touch women that don't want to be touched. That's what he thinks is cool.
Again, if we're talking specifically about the vajayjay comment and grabbing them, to me, what I heard, it was a bunch of dudes standing around or sitting on a bus, just shooting the breeze, and then people just, particularly Trump, wanting to be cool in front of his friends, for you to apply that to everything going forward. It's like, well, he said he did it, so therefore every woman he goes by, he's grabbing vajayjays. It's like
maybe you just don't want the kind of person who thinks that would be a comment that would make him look cool.
Again, I'm not. Do I think that it made him look cool? No.
I'm not asking if you thought it made him look cool. I'm saying maybe you don't want somebody who thinks that would make him look cool. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Trump. If Trump thinks that that's the type of thing he needs to do to show off to people, I don't know. Maybe that's just not the kind of guy who would want to be the president of the United States.
And again, if you took everything that you did in a private life when you were hanging out with your friends that you would have never thought would have made it into the public eye, we'd be probably having a bunch of different conversations too, Stephen. And so
if I was running for president, and you know what? If I was trying to be a teacher, or screw it, if I was trying to be the president of the United States and people were bringing up, here's comments that this guy has made in the past. He's made tons of edgy, disgusting, rude, terrible racial slurs or whatever, like all these things in the past. I don't know if I want this guy representing me as president of the United States. That would be a valid criticism.
It certainly would. However, those haven't really come to fruition, have they, Stephen?
But
I'm not running for president of the United States.
That's what I'm saying. Destiny wouldn't run for president of the United States. I don't think he would see himself as like a moral leader that should be leading the country. Not that he's guilty of anything bad or, just because, we hold that position to a higher standard. And you refuse to acknowledge that objective, which is weird.
Well, what I find interesting is, as somebody that did go to college and was part of the frat scene, and it is a different life. And men growing up, at least in my age, I mean, that was one of the things that you talked about. Is like, hey, I'm going to go try to.
I agree with you. Listen, I agree with you. This is why, like, despite. As much as I hate to say it, this is why I usually don't harp on like the Hassan frat stuff as much, because even though he said a bunch of gross stuff, or why I didn't typically like bring up the bro pill shows or whatever. Like, this guy's like in his teens, early 20s, whatever. But Trump was not. If these are recordings from Trump when he was 21 years old, that would be something. But if you're talking like a frat guy at 60, I think that kind of speaks a little bit more to your character, the things that you value in life. It's not like he was in a fraternity in college.
Okay, again, I want to know what time a man, in his sex drive or his love for a woman, if that's who he loves, goes away, Destiny. And so, like,
I don't think there's ever a normal time in a man's life oh my God, stop. Oh God, I'm on my woman hating arc right now, and you're bringing back my man hating arc. Hold on. I just want you to be clear. You're asking me, when is it appropriate for a man to grow out of his I want to non-consensually grab women phase? I mean, the ideal answer is never. That should never be a period in a man's life where he's like, I just want to grab them and they'll let me do it because I'm rich and powerful, which is like one of the chief complaints, right, of the whole Me Too movement of women historically in this country and around the world, and they're all of time and space. I don't know how I'm supposed to engage with that question.
Again, at the end of the day, you're trying to suggest that, from the age of 21, maybe you have, less, or you have more self-control. But I think the desire, I don't know that goes away, Destiny. And
no,
so,
if Trump, you're rewriting his comments. If Trump were to say, these women are all so beautiful, I just want to, I don't know what I can say here without the live getting. If he was talking about how attractive they were and how even like gross comments about like doing gross things with himself or wanting to do gross things with them, that would be one thing. It was the fact that he talked about just taking it. It was the fact that he speaks like he had ownership of them. It was the fact that he speaks about them like possessions while he was the one that owned the competitions that they were competing in.
Yeah, see, again, Steven, so it would be like you having a conversation. You don't think dudes in their 40s are, being like, particularly, let's just say they're single at the time. They hook up with the chick that they're not going to, want to tell their buddies, yeah, man, it was great. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like.
That's not what we're talking about, though. That wasn't the comment, was it?
Though, Steven.
It wasn't.
I mean, how do we know what the entire conversation that was prior? All they showed was the clip of him coming in and saying, hey, I go in and grab him by the vajayjay, Steven. So at the end of the day, this is, in my opinion, just a bunch of dudes that are out hanging out. Obviously, he doesn't drink. Maybe some of them having beer. I don't know.
I'm just curious. Hey, do you give the same pass? You gave the same pass to Bill Clinton then, right? Like, who could say no if an intern really wanted to hook up with you, right?
So you're down with the Me Too then? Because I'm asking you. I would argue that it was consensual at the end of the day. However, the power play that Clinton had over her obviously led to some of it. And what woman doesn't probably want to, have the most powerful penis in their life?
Wait,
you know what I mean?
Power play? Didn't Trump own the competitions that these girls were competing in?
That's just like, one of those trophies that they can say is like, yeah, I had the most powerful penis ever.
Okay. All right.
Anyway,
average Trump supporter. We got it. Average Trump supporter. I just want to say, I look forward to, in a few years, when the Democrats come back into power, when you rediscover morality and you find all of these criticisms for every random inane comment. Like for Swalwell right now, you agree he definitely shouldn't resign. He should continue to run for office. Everything he did and said was fine, right? That's just a man being a man.
No,
right?
I thank you. That's what I was trying to get to, which is this brings me to that point, which is y'all continue to show the hypocrisy on your side. That's why
everybody's called for him to step down. He's not in the race anymore. What are you talking about?
This is why this conversation began, was me calling out the hypocrisy of IRI and the defense of, if he found it.
Didn't Swalwell?
He stopped, and then him continuing, and then Swalwell.
You're filibustering.
I'm not. You're not allowing me to finish, and so now I'm just continuing to talk over you.
He stopped running, right?
Yeah, he dropped out.
I don't know. You haven't allowed me to finish. You're talking about they've asked him to stop. Yes.
No, he stopped running.
For the governor of California.
He suspended his campaign. Yes.
Yeah, that just happened then today.
Yesterday.
Yes. Or yesterday.
What's your point?
So where's the hypocrisy? Didn't Donald Trump continue to run for president a second time after being?
This is one of the gentlemen that were over here crying about the Epstein files, crying about Trump doing what he's doing, but yet he's doing the exact same thing, just like your claim was, and then IRI defending that.
Bullshit.
Wait a second, IRI. Hold on. Wait.
Hold on. That's why I came up here, my friend.
My TikTok is
to call out y'all's hypocrisy, because that is what y'all's party has always been about. I
understand. Wait, I think my TikTok is glitching. I only see, is it you, me, and Objective? Is Swalwell in this room right now, or who's he talking to?
No, he's not in here. Just my alt.
Oh, I don't know whose hypocrisy you're talking about then, because we were talking about the entire Democratic establishment. That's who you were talking about. If you want to say Swalwell was hypocritical, then sure. But guess what?
Yep.
He withdrew. He suspended his campaign. Everybody in the Democratic Party condemned him. Meanwhile, you guys all make excuses for Trump. There is no hypocrisy here. Look at Al Franken. The guy had unsavory pictures come out from him from like a decade earlier, and the guy resigned as a senator. Meanwhile, you've got Matt Gaetz and all these other guys that are involved in all this stuff who are, they have to be dragged kicking and screaming sometimes away from their nominations and will never withdraw from offices. Look at the guy in Texas District 23 whose assistant set herself on fire and killed herself because he was having a long-term affair with her. He didn't resign. How are you trying to say that these two parties are the same, bro? You're out of line. You're totally out of pocket.
Again, it's about the hypocrisy that you guys have.
Oh my God.
No, it is. And so whether it's immigration, to where, y'all only seem to hate immigration when Trump does it, because at the end of the, y'all have to
taking it to another issue.
to allow me to finish.
You're
man.
taking it to another issue. Stick to this one. Did we not pressure Eric Swalwell to leave the race immediately? Adam Schiff came out the night of. Nancy Pelosi came out. Jimmy Gomez, his fellow congressman who's running his campaign, they all came out and said it's time to drop out. So how are we hypocrites when we did that in response to these accusations?
So again, it's the hypocrisy that you have these people in power that y'all have put there. And it wasn't immediate, and he didn't go without a kicking and a fighting. So let's just be clear. And so at the end of the day, when you find that these people are the ones that are screaming the loudest, let's just call it they're projecting, because they're the ones that are actually doing. And we're finding that to be more in the Democratic Party is what I'm trying to say. And it was evidenced by when that other caller came up, and that's why I came up to talk to you about it, was to call out the hypocrisy of you being able to defend it and say, you know what? No, I'll still be friends with it, because that goes against everything y'all are doing against Trump.
It doesn't go anywhere near it. Basically, the guy said Destiny made a comment, an edgy comment when he was in his early 20s. And I said, if that's true, I would like to see the context. And that was 15 years ago. And I know him as an edgy guy. He probably was just making some joke. Turns out it wasn't even that bad. He was telling other people that these girls look way older, man. Be careful. And that's it.
That's
so
fine.
why wouldn't I continue to be friends with a guy who did that 15 years ago? I don't get it.
But
people are acting like he banged some minor or something, or even said he wanted to. It was the exact opposite.
It was given the hypothetical that if you did find it to be true, that you were like,
yes,
you didn't really care. And hold on. And the excuse of it being so long ago that you were willing to forgive that.
It's
and
not.
You don't,
no, here's where
apply those same. All I ask is for consistency. So if you apply the same standards, I'm happy with that. What frustrates me more than anything, and why I started joining TikTok, was to call out the hypocrisy of the left. And that's what I'm doing today. And you made that easy for me.
Right. So you're flailing here because
I'm not at all.
No, you're looking at first of all, one point at a time. You're looking at the years and you're saying, well, Trump did something 20 years ago and you condemn him for it. But this other guy did something 20 years ago and you won't condemn him for it. There's a big difference, in my opinion. You might disagree, maybe some people in the chat, but a guy in his early 20s making edgy jokes versus a man in his 50s or 60s, I think there's a difference there. And I think it's big. So some people will say, no, it's not. It's not. People in their early 20s say all sorts of crazy, stupid shit that does not define who they are later. But it didn't even sound like a huge thing that he said anyways. It wasn't even an action. It was nothing. So that's why I said, if that was all true, I still could be friends with him. Why wouldn't I?
And so where I would fall in this is, so let's just talk about Trump for a second. Like all the claims that the left are, consistently making are the e-files, he's in there, which are categorically false. They have not been proven. And then obviously the other comments, the bus comments. And so at the end of the day, the way that the left feels about the, way Trump has done to women is a very much a feels argument. If it were to come out to be, I'd be asked the same hypothetical, which is, if Trump were to be found guilty and you would have found this to be true, would you still support him? My answer would have been no, I can't. But at the end of the day, the things that y'all accuse Trump of, they have not ever been found in a court of law to be true.
Literally,
they have not.
Literally,
they have not.
Literally,
no, they haven't.
Literally,
if you're going to try to claim a civil case is anywhere near what a criminal case is, it's not though. The standard of evidence is night and day difference.
Okay.
And so and again, anyway, I'm not going to get into it because it's just a pointless argument. And so if he were to be found criminally guilty of it, yeah, we'd be having a totally different conversation right now.
That's crazy to me.
Why is that crazy?
So did O.J. Simpson kill his wife and Ron Goldman?
No. I mean, did he?
Of course he did.
Oh, so did he admit to doing it?
He wrote a book, basically did, If I Did It, but he was found civilly liable for it. He got away with it.
But did he kill them?
In the criminal case. You honestly think O.J. Simpson did not kill his wife?
According to his jury of his peers,
doesn't matter. I'm asking you.
No,
I'm asking you.
No, that's the problem with you all. You don't want to stand by what America was designed on, which is our judicial system. And if you were found not guilty of a crime, you didn't do it, dude. Unless he came out later and said, "Hey, I did it." No, a jury of his peers said he didn't do it. He said he didn't do it, and there's nothing that can ever be said otherwise.
Okay. Well, I think
even if the civil case said, even
99% of the world
he did
disagrees with you on that one.
You made a great argument there. I appreciate you making my point for me, because civilly you can bring a heck of a lot more to a trial, and it doesn't mean that you did it.
I'm not saying that it means you did it. I'm just saying, I was just curious how far you go with this principle, and you showed us. By the way,
yeah, I'm consistent, dude. Yeah. I will stay consistent in my principle, and I want everybody to be the same. But I can't get everybody there.
I think Destiny had a good question for you, which you answered poorly. I think that if you had a friend who did something and he didn't even do anything, but let's say you had a friend who committed a crime 15 years ago, and they've changed their life and they aren't continuing down that path, you couldn't be friends with them still because you thought they would commit that crime against you at some point. That's ridiculous. And you're being outrageous when you say something like that. And you're not being honest either.
I am being honest, though. I mean, like, you don't know my life.
He said
you don't
a white-collar crime, and you were concerned that they could commit that white-collar crime against you.
I said if it were theft, no, I don't. Hey, let me just, I'll give you an anecdotal. So to show you how serious I am, I had a long-term relationship. I ended that relationship over a theft because I could no longer trust that person. I loved that individual with all my heart. But at the end of the day, hold on. At the end of the day, I could never, let me finish.
But I
could never trust that individual again.
When did they commit the theft?
And you know what? Hold on. I'm not. I keep them at a distance. Do I still speak to them?
You won't answer this question.
We are no longer together. We are no longer friends.
So not answer this one simple question.
Remain consistent.
This is why you got some giant shoes on right now, big red nose, and a flower that squirts water. You're clowning right here. When did your friend commit that theft?
Well, it was actually identity theft of myself, and they took my social security. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. They took my social security number and they took my information. They opened a card in my name. I found out through a collections call. Hold on, let me finish.
I got enough details to hear the story.
Let me finish.
Make my point. So the point is, it happened to you right then. Now, if your friend had done that to someone else 15 years earlier, you're saying that you would not be friends with that guy.
Yes, if I found out that they did that to somebody else, I would assume that they are going to do that again.
15 years earlier.
People tend to change at the end of the day.
Oh, well, now you're just being completely ridiculous.
Again, so you ask me a question, you don't like the answer, so then you call me ridiculous because you don't like the answer.
I think you're being
give you an anecdotal of something that happened, which is a very principled. I mean, most people would forgive, but not me. No, I said no. I don't trust you again. I don't trust other people.
No,
that's why I keep my circle tight.
Your anecdote has nothing to do with the example. And the goalposts have moved so far with your anecdote. It's ridiculous. It went from a guy did something to someone else 15 years ago in their early 20s to he did it to me recently, and now I'm not going to be friends with him. How can you even begin to compare those two?
Because the anecdotal came from, by the way, I'll bring you back. You said if the individual committed a white collar crime, I'll leave it at that because that's what you said. Now, what this individual did to me would be considered a white collar crime. They did it in the silence. They went over there and they, did it in secret, and it didn't hurt anybody other than my trust at the end of the day. So it was a very appropriate anecdotal to what you had just mentioned. So if you actually follow along, it is very apropos to the conversation.
I disagree, and I think everyone in the audience disagrees with you as well. I think even people that would want to support you can't help but not only laugh at your mispronunciation of the word, but also at your argument, making no sense. Now listen,
Pronunciation of what word?
you kept saying anecdotal.
How do I say it right? Anecdotal. Anecdotal. That's whatever. I can't say it right when I try. Anecdotal.
Destiny, you can come and go as you please, bro. We lost you for a few minutes there. Did you have?
Well, I left. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if it's like, I'm not trying to call out Dina Parker. No, but actually, seriously, I don't know if there's like a certain thing that started the kind of the crazy TikTok debate brain, but like, for this guy, it sounded like you said you've talked to this guy before. Is this a real guy, or is this like?
I'm a real boy. I'm like Pinocchio.
He's not putting on a performance. This is
You really? So we just went from, if a person did something bad and got arrested 15 years ago, would you cut ties with them? And his example for cutting ties with somebody that fit that category of people was a person who committed identity theft against them.
recently, yeah, just recently.
Hold on. This was showing. Hold on. This Destiny or Steven, you got to listen. So this was showing how rigid I am in my principles, this wasn't just a person.
Hold on, can I ask a question?
Steven, once I finish,
please stop filibustering. No, you're filibustering. It's not relevant. Everything you're going to say is ask a question. Simple question.
Me and I were doing okay till you came back.
I know you were. I know. Simple question.
Normal conversation.
I just want you to.
He has
more filibustering. Do people realize when they're filibustering? Okay. Simple question.
No. I was actually just answering, and you decided that your statement was
I don't know if people
important.
You receive it or not.
You don't understand what you think.
Simple question.
No, how about this? Let me finish what I was going to say. And then you can I'll answer your question, okay?
Sure. Give us
the reason why I'm saying filibuster because everything you're about to say is not relevant to the next thing you're going to say. It's a waste of time.
I need you to fix that O-ring, sir. Come on. So, Steven, again, what I was trying to illustrate here was my principles are rigid. This person wasn't just a random individual. This was an individual that I was with for 10 years. They lived under my roof. I had relations with this individual, but this individual did something so bad, it didn't cheat on me. They didn't go out and do anything, completely horrible. They stole from me, Steven. They stole my identity and they lost my trust. And so that, sir.
Yes, you've just described the most normal thing in the universe. Yes, you had a relationship of 10 years with somebody and they identified you. All of this was irrelevant. You already said this. Filibustering.
I'm not done.
That's not my question. This is a waste of time. Oh my God.
Steven,
you're done. You've already explained all of this.
I'm not done.
Nothing new.
I'm not done.
You've explained all of this. Are you going to say something new?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, hey, is that all it takes? Steven. So at the end of the day, sir, no, it's not just about this random individual.
Okay, no, he's not saying anything. Okay, here's my question. If I were to commit identity theft against IRI, if I were to steal his identity and ruin his credit and everything else, do you think IRI would still be friends with me?
I wouldn't be friends with you either, Steven.
I'm asking you if IRI would.
That's the point.
It's a democracy test.
Again, that's the point. Most people would be able to get over that and be like, "Oh, you're my girlfriend."
Okay. This is not real. No, it's not real. This is not real. It can't be real. This can't be a real person.
Steven.
He's
the tortured mind of somebody who has to defend Donald Trump. This can't be a real person.
Principles look like, Steven. This is what
principles look like. Is you thinking the average person could get over?
They need morals
and 10 years stealing their identity,
and then you could destroy the principles.
Objective.
Let him be a better country, Steven.
But
the problem is we have Democrats like you and who live in a world of delusion. You live in a world of double standards, and you live in a world of hypocrisy, Steven. That's the problem that we're having today. It's the lunatics like you, sir.
Quiet, piggy. All right, Steven, go ahead.
No, I can't believe this is a real person. It's got to be.
I'm 100% real, Steven.
He's real, but here, okay. So here, let me make it easier. Since you wanted, your example is so bad, I'll tell you how. So this would be if I found out that Destiny at this age said a 15-year-old was sexy, then I would not associate with him right now if he said that, okay? That's your example. That's what you've created. You said somebody did a crime against you, and so you cut ties with them. So I'm saying if I found out that he was telling people that a 15-year-old was sexy now, yes, I would stop talking to him. That's weird as fuck, but that's not what happened.
IRI, your question to me was about the white-collar crimes, and you asked if I would continue or I would be friends with them, and the answer was no. And I went on to give you my anecdotal.
Okay,
and so
I have to interrupt you, and I'm not trying to be rude, but your anecdote is not something that happened 15 years earlier, and now you're making a decision about your friend. Your anecdote is, this guy just did it to me, and now I'm going to cut him off. Well, no shit, Sherlock. We're asking you if your friend committed a white-collar crime 15 years earlier, And you made the case that I'm concerned they're going to do it to me 15 years later, so I'm going to cut them off, which is outrageous and ridiculous, and you know it.
No, it's not. I would not. If I knew going into something, yes, I'm going to have some preconceived notions of those individuals, and I'm probably not going to be friends with them. Let me rephrase that. I don't even need to throw the caveat of probably. I'm not going to be friends with them. I may associate, I might call them an acquaintance, but I'm not going to call them a friend, sir.
Okay, wait, can I ask you a question? Is there anything that Trump could have done at 60 that would make him disqualified to be president in your eyes morally?
Yeah, I mean, like if he were to have been found criminally charged with or criminally liable or criminally, what do we call that?
Wait. But why doesn't the same argument apply there? He didn't know he was running for president yet. How could you disqualify him because of something he did before he knew he was running for president?
What do you mean by that? If he would have been found criminally,
you said earlier that Trump didn't even know. You said earlier that Trump didn't know he was running for president when he made those comments in that bus. So maybe he didn't know he was going to be running for president when he was found guilty of some crime. Are you saying that
that wasn't a crime? And so your question to me was, what could Trump have done morally wrong for me not to support him? Did I get that wrong?
Yeah, so you're saying morally it would be,
but now you're trying to take it to a bus comment, which isn't.
Dude, it can't be a real person. Hold on, I'm not saying I'm the one. You just restated. No, you're restating things that don't even make sense. You're saying
you're saying to me, sir.
You're saying you were asking me something morally, so I was telling you if he was convicted of a crime. Those are two different things. Okay, number one. Number two, your defense earlier of Trump's comments on the bus were, well, he didn't know then that he was going to run for president. So I'm asking you, morally, is there a bad thing that he could have done when he was 60 that in your eyes would disqualify him that doesn't involve a criminal conviction?
Of course not. Hello? He's muted. Something happened there. No.
Wait, maybe his friend is stealing his identity again.
Why did I get muted on that? Like,
nobody muted you. I'm the only mod. There's not. You muted yourself somehow.
Well, I don't know where you did you hear my response at all?
No, we didn't hear your response.
Oh, then I must have not come back off of mute. My bad. I apologize. So I don't even know what I was saying now because I was mad because I got muted, I thought.
The question was there anything that Trump could have done morally? Not like a criminal conviction. Yeah.
So what I was saying was, you'd have to give me some hypotheticals. I'm not going to go into the fantasy delusional world that y'all live in and try to come up with some.
Wait, isn't a hypothetical a fantasy world? Isn't that what a hypothetical is?
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to live in that world and be like, oh, well, if he did this, like, I'm not going to live in this world trying to make up these, things that Trump may or may not do. So if you want to give me an example, you're welcome to, and I'll tell you.
Isn't that how this works?
If you're asking me to come up with something, no, I'm not going to come up with something for you. I'm not going to live in this delusional world.
Okay, let's say that Trump beat his wife. Would that disqualify him from being president?
Yes, I would have an issue with him being the president of the United States if he beat his wife.
Even if he wasn't criminally convicted of it?
If he went through the court system and then found not guilty, then yeah, he can absolutely run for president. But if he was found criminally guilty of it, yeah, I've got an issue with it. But
then why so then it's not a moral thing, it's a criminal conviction thing. Then why do you want Swalwell to step down?
It's not it comes with both, because just because you're accused of something doesn't mean you did something.
So then Swalwell shouldn't step down until
you were accused of something today, sir. You were
he's filibustering. Filibuster. It's a filibuster. Filibuster and a pivot. It's a filibuster and a pivot.
You came up.
I'm asking a very simple question and you're rambling, okay? Because you know you're trapped. You ramble. Just so you know, people ramble when they know they're trapped, because if they keep talking, then they don't have to ever actually address the point. That's the point. That's why you do it.
Statement.
Yes, no, you would. I know, because this is like self-soothing. You're comforting yourself because you're uncomfortable, because you're pushed to a corner because you realize you can't answer the question. Like, that's what's going on.
Faucet, dude.
I'm Niagara Falls to you.
You are.
You're drowning at the bottom of the waterfall. Yeah, that's correct. That is what is happening right now.
And then in the middle of an answer,
you agree that Swalwell.
Go ahead and ask something.
Swalwell shouldn't suspend his campaign, right? You're filibustering. Swalwell shouldn't suspend his campaign, right?
You will get everything
filibustering.
you're looking for in that
self-soothing. Oh, does it feel good?
Questions behind that.
Do you sleep with weighted blankets at night?
The answer that you were looking for.
Fuzzy slippers on.
It's called clarifying questions after
Cup of tea.
And so, but you're not really capable of
Barney,
doing that.
Sesame Street playing in the background. Big.
You're not capable of doing that, are you? You're not.
Swalwell shouldn't suspend it. Swalwell should not suspend his campaign because he's been found guilty of anything, right?
Of having a normal conversation.
Swalwell should not have. Swalwell should have suspended his campaign, right?
Years old, is that what I heard?
Swalwell,
a real person.
Swalwell
can't be a real person, because no normal person would be able to.
What do I have to do to break the trauma loop right now? IRI, in order to make him answer that question.
You just got to let them get it.
Oh, here, you ask him. IRI, ask him if Swalwell should suspend his campaign, even though he hasn't been found guilty or charged with anything.
Objective: do you sleep with a weighted blanket?
Every day, man. Yeah, I need. I guess got to be at least 50 pounds, man.
Cute. Okay, so do you think Swalwell should have dropped out of the race for governor?
If he didn't do it, then absolutely not. I mean, I would defend myself to the bitter end, but unfortunately for you Democrats, unfortunately for you Democrats, there's a lot of evidence out there that appears that he may be guilty, but no.
Filibuster. It's all filibuster.
Guilty of the crimes that they're accused of to go ahead and defend themselves and fight to the bitter end.
Filibuster.
Much like Trump did.
There he is. Yeah, he lost that fight, by the way.
Trump
Just
was
saying.
convicted. Trump was found guilty.
Of what? When?
34
The
felonies.
E. Jean Carroll stuff.
And E.
He
Jean
lost in civil court over that.
Yeah. The civil court, again, we had the OJ conversation. You know where I stand on that. So, unfortunately, that's not
you're
gonna
the
work
only
in
guy in
favor.
America that doesn't think OJ Simpson killed his.
Again, I use logic and I use principle, my guy. And so at the end of the day, and I follow the law. And so the jury of our peers and his peers rendered a verdict. And that verdict was not guilty, sir. And under the Constitution of the United States, when a verdict is rendered not guilty, yeah, that's what it is. And then there's no double jeopardy behind it. Can't be tried again.
Okay.
That's just how it works. And so you don't want to abide by that? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Why do you not believe Trump's 34 felonies that he was found guilty of by a jury of his peers?
I mean, so are we going to talk about, how they became that way? So I'm going to argue that how in the world do we have an attorney that we go to say, here, this is what the issue is? Then we also have an accounting firm.
None of this matters. Hold on.
Hold on. It does matter because these are all the people. These are all the people that did this. Hold on. These are
objective. You don't even have
the
to
attorney advises. The attorney advises. The accounting firm's the one who accounts, but yet the individual is the one that's charged with it.
It doesn't matter.
We live in to where we go to our experts and they can't do a job.
I'm gonna do a destiny.
You see the filibuster? Wait, Ira, you understand this is what it is, right?
I think the attorney from the accounting firm should have been the one that goes, this is the case.
It is.
This has to be their thing.
It would be a much better conversation, but this guy Steven doesn't properly.
It's because you take like 2 minutes to say something you could say in 5 seconds. You restate this.
1 minute time.
Yes, there it is. Jesus.
So objective.
Help you, Leaky Faucet.
Here.
Do that. Then.
Your conclusion is the jury found O.J. Simpson. They acquitted him, so he's not guilty. So your whole point, the reason why I tried to stop you is because the jury's conclusion is what you're basing your conclusion off. So the jury convicted Trump, and yet that's not good enough for you, but you accept that with OJ. So explain that.
So I do accept the verdict that was rendered, which is a guilty verdict. Unfortunately for you, and unfortunately for the other people that don't like Trump, that is not a disqualifier to run for president. And me personally, morally, no, I don't see anything wrong with it. What I see there is a political system that used the judicial system to go after an ex-president to try to stop him from becoming the next president of the United States of America. That's what I see happen there.
Why would you keep associating with Trump by supporting him when he could possibly do this to you? If he's been convicted of it, he could do it to you at some point.
Because he used his own money to be able to pay somebody who agreed to the payment, who signed an NDA, that they then decided to say, oh, well, it came from campaign funds. You know damn well this was a sham at the end of the day, that they got wrapped up into a criminal complaint that they ended up being successful in. But you know as well as I that this charge would have happened to nobody else in this country other than Donald J. Trump. So please miss me with that.
First of all, this does get charged quite often, falsification of business records in a place like New York City. Second of all, you're right. We hold the president of the United States to a higher standard. They're under a microscope. So certain charges may be brought against someone like that wouldn't be brought against very many other people. But when you choose to run for the high office and we entrust you with that kind of power, we expect a lot from you, both with your character and following the law.
Also, just as a quick thing to add in here, because the guy is misinforming people, you cannot be held criminally liable for something if you did not have the criminal intent to commit the crime. So the idea that somebody could advise you to do something and then that thing is illegal, but all of a sudden you're charged with a crime, unless it's something that you should have known anyway, that is not the case. This is why there are bars and stuff, or this is why there are associations that will certify like doctors and accountants and lawyers, is because you have an ethical obligation to provide good advice to the people that you're working with, so they can be held criminally liable if they were to misadvise somebody. Trump was guilty of intentionally misappropriating those funds and directing Cohen himself to lie about where those funds were coming from in order to mask that he was using campaign funds, I guess, basically to pay off Stormy Daniels. So that's why he was found guilty of that.
I remember that.
Because you don't know anything about it. That's fine. Maybe your identity got stolen at the time and you were busy dealing with that. Who knows?
If you'd allow me to actually speak without interrupting me, that would be great. But I know you're not capable of doing so. The way I remember that going down was Trump Trump went to Cohen, right, and said, Cohen, we've got an issue with Stormy Daniels, and how do we solve that issue? Cohen went over and said, here's how we solve the issue. You'll go ahead and send the money over, I believe it was to Cohen, right? Then Cohen then disperses it to to Stormy Daniels. And then it goes through the accounting firm, right? Whoever the accounting firm that utilized it. And they said, all right, whatever that payment was, it needs to be, ledgered this way. And so what he was accused of was ledgering the wrong payment, or ledgering, actually it went from campaign funds is where it got him into the felony, if you remember. But it was all about the same amount of payment going from Cohen to Stormy Daniels 34 times, the same damn payment, but 34 separate times being accounted by the accounting firm and being advised by the advising firm of the lawyer.
You can
So
get
tell me,
loud.
what world do we live in when we can use two professionals and still get charged with a crime?
You can be loud all you want, but it's not going to change what happened. So none of that matters anyways. These jurors listened to the facts, the evidence, and they came to the conclusion unanimously that he committed a crime. You should be pissed about this subjective dissent. This guy falsified business records to commit a campaign finance violation, essentially hiding this woman's story from the American people so they wouldn't have the full story then to go and vote properly. You should be pissed that this guy cheated to hide some information from you before the election.
NDAs and payoffs happen all the time, and so it's, to me, it's not hiding anything.
It's not legal.
It was done illegally. If I use a lawyer to do an NDA with somebody, I can't. If I agree to pay that person $400,000, I can't write that off as me just paying my lawyer's money. That would be a lie. That's fraud. I'm sending the money to somebody else. I can't just write that off as a business expense like Trump did when he was sending the money directly to Cohen.
So last I checked, both the accounting firms and the attorneys were involved in this entire transaction. And so I'm going to go back to, what world do we live in when we hire outside individuals to represent us, and then the individual that hired them is the one that goes down for it? That's where I'm at with it.
When you're using that individual to commit a crime.
Again, that would be the ethics and the morals of those individuals to say, hey, sorry, can't help you with that because that is a crime. You're going to have to figure that out on your own, sir. But that's not what happened now, is it, Destiny?
You're wrong.
What do you mean? No, what happened was he agreed to commit the crime on behalf of Donald Trump. That's what Cohen testified to in court. And you keep saying, like, what kind of world do we live in? What kind of world do we live in? This is exactly the world we live in. One of the few ways
did Cohen go down for helping Trump in the Stormy Daniels case?
Yes.
Yeah, wasn't he convicted?
No, it wasn't for the Stormy Daniels case. It was for lying and doing other things, but it wasn't for Stormy Daniels.
Lying about what?
Yeah, it was lying about the case plus some like shit with like taxi medallions and some other things. But here's the thing: he
didn't go down for Stormy Daniels.
Yes, he lied about it. What do you mean? He lied to Congress.
He may have lied to Congress about it, but he didn't go down.
I'm pretty sure he was charged with lying to Congress.
But he didn't go down criminally for anything that he did, like Trump, the one that went down for the payments. That's the individual, to your point, that shouldn't have been doing it because it was illegal.
No,
Why didn't he get charged with that?
Did. He pleaded guilty in 2018 to tax evasion, bank fraud, and campaign finance violations related to hush money payments.
Okay, well, I didn't realize that he went down for the hush money.
There were multiple things. But what I wanted to say is I think you must have missed some of the testimony. The guy, the publisher of that magazine that bought the story to bury it, it said that Trump was fully aware of what was going on and that it wasn't legal. He basically testified that Trump knew what they were doing was illegal.
I don't find what that was. What I find it to be is a witch hunt and something to go after somebody. And was anybody harmed by it? No. Stormy got her money.
We were. Excuse me. We were harmed by it. He was lying. He was committing a crime
because you had a great economy from
bullshit.
A great president. When was the last time you filled your car up?
Well, I do a lot of electric, so it's been a little while. So
bullshit. Your argument is so pathetic to say that, because things went well, he should get a pass for committing a crime. Bullshit, man.
No, again, that crime right there is not a crime. That, again, he used his own money. It was an agreement between Stormy Daniels that they said, all right, cool, let's do this. And so did he steal from anybody? No.
Wait. So you agree? You think we should get rid of all bookkeeping crimes? All of that stuff should just be made legal. You should be able to keep books, pay taxes, however you want. None of that should matter.
I mean, at the end of the day, I would not be friends with somebody because of a bookkeeping crime. Now, if they were stealing from people, that's different. But at the end
of the day, we should eliminate all crimes related to bookkeeping, tax fraud, all of that should be gone.
We could take them one by one and we could talk about it. I wouldn't go ahead and throw a blanket on it and say,
okay, so the ones relating to being honest about where your payments are going towards for tax purposes, like what happened in the Stormy Daniels, Cohen, Trump case, these shouldn't be crimes.
How much money does Stormy Daniels get paid?
The funny thing is the only reason the story went out is because Trump was skimping on like the final, I think it was $130,000 in payments to her.
Okay, so she got $130,000. Like, how did that affect anybody other than Stormy Daniels?
How would it affect you if the president beat his wife? How would it affect you? No, stop generalizing it, dude. It's so pathetic how you argue. I don't know how you do this all day. You're generalizing so much. Like, it's so pathetic how you're hypocrisy. How does a president cheating on his wife? Dude. How does a president cheating on his wife or hitting his wife affect you if the economy is great as a president? None of this. I don't care. You apply equally across either party or across Trump's own life. The problem with people like you is that you're trying to argue in the realm of morality with probably the least moral president we've had in the history of the entire United States. There's not a single moral concept relating to rape, relating to theft, relating to racism, related to lying, related to dodging subpoena, related to anything that you could craft, because Donald Trump would fall short of every single standard that you're trying to create right now. That's where you're having to twist yourself into a carnival pretzel in order to defend the insane statements that you're saying.
I'm not even close to having to twist myself into a pretzel here.
You just said that all bookkeeping and tax fraud crimes should be completely destroyed, or maybe we could go through them one at a time. You have to figure out which ones would benefit Donald Trump to get rid of, bro. The plot. This is the problem.
Y'all hear what you think you hear, and that's the problem with you all. You're just delusional. Because I didn't say that.
All of us are delusional. Yes.
I said the second part.
True.
We could take them one by one.
We are all delusional. You got us, bro. We're about to double up on the blockade in Hormuz because all of us are delusional.
You were just
that's us
all around. This is why you're bad at debating.
Exactly. I agree. We are the ones that gish gallop to every single issue as you try to broaden it every single time you get cornered.
Keep y'all on topic. The last we were talking about was Stormy Daniels and their payments, and me saying that I didn't have an issue with those payments at the end of the day.
Initially, because initially, let me tell you how we got here. I'm just going to how we got here was we asked you for a moral thing that Trump could do that you thought wasn't okay, and then you said, well, no, maybe you started getting him being convicted of crimes. And we said, okay, well, Trump got convicted of crimes. Does that make it not okay now? And you're like, well, actually, I don't think those crimes should be crimes. That's where we got to where we are right now.
Bro, are you going to ever let me actually finish a thought? No, I didn't think so. And so if you want to give me a minute, I will abide by that minute. And maybe it'll help Stephen fix his little leaky faucet over there. And maybe you'll be able to, have some self-control. I don't know. I doubt it. Because he just doesn't seem like he,
you're spending
that ability.
You're spending more time crying about him, how he gave
it. It's annoying, dude. I can't seem to get a thought out.
You gotta work with it, and you've been interrupting him as well. So it's just a back and forth. But I just want to say quickly, the victim in the Stormy Daniels case is you and I, the American people. We were illegally robbed of information before people voted. That's not legal. People go out there and knock on doors and make phone calls and donate a few dollars to influence the election. This asshole broke the law and hid information about his life in order to influence the election. You should be pissed.
All right, so I want to go back to Destiny's comments because he just all over the damn place with morality and talking about what the president cheats on his wife. So let me be clear: I don't care if the president cheats on his wife. The president can do whatever the hell he wants to do with regards to cheating if he wants to. Now, your other example was if he beat his wife. Now that's a different story, there, buddy. The other one is actually a criminal offense. You're not allowed to beat people, and that you will go to jail for. But if you choose to have relations with another woman and your wife finds out about it or doesn't find out about it, that's on you. And I really don't give a shit. I'm not here to get in what people do in their sex lives at the end of the day. But I do have a problem if somebody is beating another individual and can be criminally charged for that. And I would have a problem with that. So I'll land it there. I see that he's gone.
Yeah. He was disgusted with you and could no longer engage. And I don't blame him. I'm disappointed today, objective.
Well, he's you and I could normally have a decent conversation, but man, he's just chaos, bro. So anyway.
You said he's not good at debating. Come on, that's ridiculous.
He's really not.
He's our greatest champion, one of our greatest champions. I don't think anybody wants to be the greatest. How can you say he's not good at debating? He is very entertaining. He knows his stuff. Come on. Just because you didn't feel he shared the space with you adequately, that's no way to draw that conclusion.
No, because the reason I say that is because he wasn't addressing the points. He was gish galloping all the way around, and he was making feelings arguments versus just being objective and sticking to the topic. And so that's why. And then also a good debater also will stop and listen. And you know that I have stopped and listened. And the only time I was getting frustrated is when he wouldn't allow me to complete my thought. And I've done my best at allowing him to land his plane.
In all fairness, he doesn't debate here on TikTok more than a handful of times, so perhaps he's not used to dealing with the TikTok landscape. Okay, I don't know, but he was passionate. Okay, he wanted to get his.
I hear you.
He's a man. He's a busy man. Okay, he doesn't have time to listen to you lay out your argument in 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
But I can make it go fast. And the thing is he wasn't allowing that to happen. And in order to be able to have a good faith debate, you have to allow the other individual to complete their thoughts. Because what happens is when you interrupt me, then I'm then trying to scramble, and it breaks, the chain of thought. It, takes you out of the rhythm, and it's just, maybe that's a strategy. I don't know. But I'm good enough at this. I can get right back into it again. But that was my complaint. That's why I said he was a bad debater.
That's fine. You're entitled to your conclusion, but
you're correct. You are correct.
I think he had some valid points that I was trying to back up there a bit. But anyways, it's past the time when I normally get off here anyways. But I appreciate you engaging with it, and I hope you had some fun there.
Always, man. I really do always enjoy because you are one of the only people on here, to give you credit, that can have a decent conversation. I do appreciate that about you.
No worries, buddy. Talk to you later.
All right, friend. Have a good one.
What a fun turn of events there. I've been trying to nudge Destiny to come on here and debate more, and hopefully that will increase his interest in it. I think it's a lot of fun. He said, how can you do this all day? It's crazy. I live for this madness. I love it. I love all these guys. They're my fellow Americans. I feel like they're lost in the sauce and they need our help. And, I don't mind some back and forth and yelling, and if it comes down to that. But I think it's also fun to have two different personalities. Destiny and I are different in our approach to debating. And I think it is fun to see both approaches. That's why, like I said, I've been trying to bug him. Not lately. I've asked him a few times and he didn't come on here. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get him on here. But I want to encourage him to do that anytime he wants to jump on. And I say that to all my content creator friends. Anytime they want to come on here, just hit me up. I think it's a lot of fun. And it's very low stakes, right? Like, you don't have to be live. You don't have to have your camera on. Just on your phone, come in for 5-10 minutes. He chose to stay for a while, which is great. But I think it's fun to have these guys jump on for a few minutes and debate something. That was some delusional. I enjoyed him sparring. Yeah, it was fun. Objective dissent is fine. I think his points were horrific today. Not that makes him a bad person. I just think his argument was terrible on these couple of points. The idea that somebody who committed a crime 15 years ago and you won't associate with them, even though they displayed none of that behavior and had nothing to do with you because you think they'll do it to you, I think that's not living in reality. I mean, imagine if we never forgave anyone for doing something bad 15 years earlier. And not even saying that what Destiny did was bad, especially after hearing his explanation. I'm not surprised there's people out there that are trying to tear him down, which I think they could use their time for better things. I don't go around crying about other content creators all day long. I'd rather just engage in what I care about. That to me is unhealthy behavior and a bit unwell. And that's why I challenged that first guy who came up here with his nonsense about Destiny. I said, do you think you've moved the needle at all here? And he's like, you're going to get canceled, especially when I make a video and your audience is going to leave. Like, dude, no, it's not. Like, first of all, almost any publicity is good and grows your presence on the internet and your influence. And second of all, anybody's going to hear that argument and laugh at you for trying to cancel somebody over that. So go ahead. But I always challenge these guys. Do you think that you actually are accomplishing your goal in any way? And, of course they know they're not. They're failing miserably. Destiny on TikTok forever. Yeah, I think he would have 20,000 people watching him and he would get his YouTube to 1 million subs. There are so many people on TikTok that would love to hear his debates that will never go on any other platform. They just won't do it. And I know this. I mean, I just got on Instagram. I've been on Instagram, but I just uploaded a couple of my clips this weekend and one of them has 100,000 views and tons of followers. These are people who probably never saw me before. And so each platform is unique, and this platform is built for these debates. So I think he would flourish here, and he'd get a lot new fans, but he could do whatever he wants to do. It's up to him. K Sloth, thanks for the $50 super chat too. So glad to see my favorite streamers absolutely wreck this MAGA Trump throater. Damn. The shots fired, man. Hold on. There's a couple other super chats I'll read if I can get them. I got a $5 super chat from Mogius. Said, it's a shame Destiny's audio is so bad. I thought his audio was fine. I don't know what you're talking about, because this is a great collab. This is the best good cop, bad cop routine I've ever seen. I think we do complement each other in debates pretty well. And I thought his audio was fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, it's not going to be the same as his stream, because that's with a nice mic and all that, but it seemed fine to me. I had no problem with it. What else here? I've got a $5 super chat from Tasty Lobster. Said, I hope Destiny comes on the lives more. MAGA's very triggered by him. Yep. And $5 from Rending said, what is this fantasy that our criminal justice system is perfect? What does this guy say about wrongful convictions? He was guilty, so that's that. Yeah, that's why I challenged him on that a little bit. I heard him just fine. Yeah, he was fine. He was using his phone. Yeah. I think just the convenience of being able to jump up here on your phone is so nice. It's so fun. So hopefully he'll do that more in the future, but no pressure. Okay, I got to get out of here. I'm going to grab something to eat. Like I said, I'll be back in about an hour on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick for my evening stream. Hopefully I'll see a bunch of you guys then. For all you guys who came over on Kick, make sure you're following. I do these debates Monday through Friday, and it's not always as lively as that, but it is a lot of fun to challenge people who still support Trump and talk to them about Iran, the economy, and hey, hopefully we'll get more guests like Destiny jumping up here in the future. So thank you guys, and thanks to everybody who came on over to YouTube as well to hang out. Appreciate that, and I'm glad Destiny was able to defend himself on that accusation, and you know, my whole point was basically that if he said something edgy when he was in his early 20s, I'm not going to stop talking to somebody because of that. I mean, especially I'd need to see the whole thing, you know. I'm just hearing some claim, but the guy's argument was that he said something edgy in his early 20s. That's how I took it. Maybe people out there disagree, but that's how I see it. I don't know. People in their early 20s are dipshits, in my opinion. No offense to anybody out there who's in the early 20s. I was a total dipshit, and I said stupid shit. The point is, you know, did he act? Did he do anything bad? And I don't think there's any evidence of that, and I don't see a pattern. So if that's the best you got against somebody, I think you need to go back to the drawing board, man. Hate to break it to you.